So the first thing I'm going to do is to open Matthias Melcher's Think tool, which is this one here that's highlighted. So I'll do that. This tool is freely available on his blog. And when you do that, two windows open. The main window is where the mapping will occur. And this window, as it says along the top, paste, drop or type input here, is where you put your information. So I've already started on this mapping process, and what I've been trying to do is map the links between my research papers and see if I can get any insights from this mapping process. So I've got a file here that's called abstracts, and it's an XML file because I've already been working on it. But basically I could drop all the text of my abstracts into this window for the first time before I get this XML file. So I'm going to drag and drop that into this window and click on continue at the bottom here, and then you can see a map appears, the one that I've been starting work on. I'll enlarge that window so you can see it more clearly. Let me just do that. There we go, and you can see that there are 22 grey icons or grey nodes on the screen, and each one of these relates to an abstract of one of my papers. I've got 22 papers that I've worked on, and so here we've got the 22. The first one, they're in chronological order. Number 1 is the most recent paper that's in press at the moment, and number 21 is the very first paper I ever worked on, and number 22 is a paper that I worked on with Matthias, and it's number 22 because it wasn't published in a peer-reviewed journal but on our blogs, but nevertheless was an important paper for us. So you'll see that because I've worked on it already, each node has a label already. These aren't the titles of the papers, they're just labels, but you'll notice that 14 hasn't got a label yet. So if I click on 14, up pops the abstract in the pane on the side here. And that happens for all these nodes. So for example, here's another paper, and here's an abstract of another paper. So it's wonderful to have all these abstracts available in one place at the click of a button. So I'll go back to 14 because I haven't got a label for that yet, and I'll edit that and put in a label, Footprints of Emergence, FEM. And if I click there, then that immediately appears as a label there. So if I go back, I could change that label if I wanted to. So for example, I could add emergence, and that will appear there as well, but I don't really want to do that at the moment, so I'll delete it. So there's the start of the mapping process, but obviously it's not a map yet and have to make some links across these papers. So the way I started was to look for obvious links. I'll just move this over here a bit because you can see numbers 2, 3 and 5 are all papers about the Rhizo 14 MOOC. So I can immediately move those, drag and drop them without moving the whole screen, and I can link them together. I do that by holding down the Alt key and dragging a line between them, and it immediately shows that I've got 3 papers that are very clearly linked. And I have already done this for all these papers, and I know now that I've got 6 groups of papers in this. It's been very helpful to help me identify these 6 groups of papers. But the mapping can be a lot more complex than this. But before I'm going to show you some more maps, but before I do that, I just want to show you a little bit more about the editing features here. You can change the colours of the nodes and the lines. So for example, I usually have the nodes in red. I don't know why, but I just do. So there they are in red. And you can change the colours of the lines. Let's change those to blue. I'm right clicking, by the way, to get this. So I've got those there, and I've got a easily identifiable and clearly seen group of 3 papers there. In terms of editing the actual text, if I go back to the Footprints of Emergence paper, you can see here that I've already edited the label. And along the bottom here, there are some tabs. I can change the text. I can make words bold, which is very good for identifying keywords, for example. You can italicize them, you can underline them. And this tool here will immediately change the label at the top. So, for example, if I wanted to add a word to the label from the abstract, let me have a good look and see what I can find to add here. What should I add? Let's add the word complex. Okay, I highlight that, and if I click on this bold plus tab at the bottom, that will immediately put that in the label at the top and on the screen, so you can see that. That makes the labelling process quite a bit quicker. So I'm going to remove that because I don't actually need that. So I'll remove that now, and it should go. Yes, it does. All right, so that's the basics. Apart from the tools along the top here, there are quite a few different tools associated with this, so you can save it in various ways. So for example, I'm going to show you in a minute I can save it as an interactive map, or I can save it as a screenshot. So I'll show you examples of that. You can change the colours to help you see the maps in the way you want to. You can insert items, you can view it in various different ways, and so on. But I haven't got time at the moment to go through that. And to be honest, I haven't explored all those tools myself yet. So I'm going to leave that for now and move on to show you some examples of what I've done with this mapping beyond these basics. So the first thing that I did once I'd identified my 6 groups of key papers was to see whether I could find major keywords that would link them together. So here is a file. I'll open it up, this one. Is it going to? Yes, it is. Here we are. Here is a map that it identifies keywords for the emergent learning group of papers. So it's not all the papers here, and you can see the papers numbered as they were before with the red nodes, but the purple nodes are the key words that I've identified that link to these papers. So if I click on, so for example, we can see that learner experience relates to 10 papers, MOOCs relates to 12 papers, course design appears in 10 papers. If I click on course design, in the pane on the right, I have put, and I can now see it immediately, all the paper abstracts that refer to course design. So this is paper 1 refers to course design, paper 2 refers to course design, paper 3 refers to course design, and so on. And it scrolls right down, and it's all there for me to see whenever I want to see it. And at the bottom, I've made a list of the numbered papers that refer to course design. And similarly with learner experiences, and so on. So this is an interactive map which shows me at a glance the keywords and how they relate to the different papers. Very useful indeed, and I can carry on working on that. Another way that you can create a map or save a map is simply to save a screenshot. So I'll open this one because I've done the same thing. If it opens, here we go, yes. I've done the same thing with looking at methods that I've used in the different papers. This isn't an interactive map, it's an image that I could put into a document if I wanted to. And straight away I can see that A lot of my papers have used surveys, quite a few have used interviews. There are a number that relate to the analytic framework, the Footprints of Emergence analytic framework, and there are some papers that are not empirical but discussion papers that refer to literature and theory. So the actual papers are the red nodes that are numbered papers, and the purple nodes are the different methods that are used in different papers. So that's very helpful, and I'll just show you one more of those to show you something, a different topic. And here again I looked at theories that I've used or referred to and referenced in different papers. And again, I can see at a glance that connectivism, for example, features quite highly in my papers, as do communities of practice. And so this tool is really helpful in gathering information in one place and getting a quick overview of the links and identifying those links. And in the blog post, I will write a little bit more about what I've learned, what's emerged for me from doing this mapping process. And I'll just reiterate once more that in my blog post I will give you the link for this tool so that if you want to try it out yourself, you can.